Hi, I'm Erica, and my story is about my grandfather during World War II and some of his life experiences. So here we go. Now tell me about your childhood.
Okay, childhood. Don't remember too much, but I was born 29 July 1919 in Rockford, Illinois. Some way through that life, I lost my mother. I ended up in an orphanage. I think I was 2 years old. I don't remember. Truthfully, I don't remember at all. Where my dad was, I don't know. Anyway, I spent 10 years in an orphanage. It was a Catholic orphanage. You learned, you went to church. And I was even an older boy. Believe that? Yes. And I got out of there. Oh, one of my brothers, I had three brothers. One of them found me, found out where I was in the orphanage, and he got me out. And I had three sisters too, and they got together, and I lived with, after I got out of there, I lived with my brother and sister. They took care of me. They put me through high school, which I graduated. And well, in high school, I played a little football. I got my knocks and bruises, but we did all right, I think. We didn't win no state, but we come close. After graduating from high school, life was kind of dull. Couldn't find a job at that time, and this was in the 30s. And jobs were hard to find. I finally found one, 10 cents an hour at a furniture factory. Man, working for 10 cents an hour. But I didn't do much, just stood there and put my time in. Well, that lasted one summer. Couldn't handle it. Hunting season come up, and I says, about time I went hunting. The hell with going to work. I went hunting, come back, got to get my job, didn't have it. So I laid around that winter, and I got another job. Through a friend of my brother's. He worked in a chemical company. The chemicals at this time, 37, 38, were just coming into being recognized in the being. And the job, you had to be smart. You had to know somebody to get in. Well, anyway, I got in, and I did. I made good money. Bought me a nice car, 31 Chevy dual mounts, big wheels. Got me a motorcycle, and had a lot of fun on the motorcycle, and I had the world. And all of a sudden, I run into my dad. Some reason or another, we start talking, and he told me about this war over. We had war with. I mean, we weren't at war yet, but England was in the world, World War II. World War I, correction. Anyway, he told me I better do something, get into service. Now, you can pick yourself. So I joined the Navy. Had to give his permission to join the Navy. That was in 1940. I remember that day distinctly. June the 5th. No, March the 5th, 1940. What a day. It was a happy day, that I thought. But boy, the misery that come later. Well, I went through boot camp in Great Lakes. Not too much to say. I guess they worked me too hard on the teaching me how to march, teach me how to do this, that I got a big fever. They call it the cat fever, catarrh fever. So spending a week in the hospital, I had it made. Then all of a sudden, they call me up and they says, you're going out. Get ready to get a plane, you're shipping out. So he flew me all the way to the coast from Great Lakes, Illinois, all the way to California. From California, I hit me a ship. It was a cruiser. Big, spit and polished, bright. And let me tell you the truth, on this cruiser, peacetime, you couldn't even go walking on the deck that's topside. You had to take your shoes off. That's how beautiful the decks were, shiny. Shine she must, run she might. That means they better shine. Don't care about the machinery, get the ships underway. Anyway, that took me to Pearl. Well, got in Pearl Harbor. Somewhere or another, they dropped me off the submarine base. And didn't do nothing. For a whole month, 2 months went by. We had a swimming pool, we had a beer joint, and a bowling alley there. What did I do? I got paid, well, it was only $21 a month, but at that time it was worth some money. And anyway, I learned all about Hawaii, and I got the Japanese family, Chinese, I knew them. And one day I just went up to get my pay up to the administration building, get my paycheck for all my 21 silver dollars. And there was about a bunch of officers there, and I heard this one cussing. He said, "You really give the profanity." Man, they knew it. He lost his yeoman, the one that does his bookwork from typing. And I looked around, now I'm looking for a guy, and I said, "You need somebody to type?" Well, until I did in high school, I did take bookkeeping. And a course in bookkeeping, and an easy course anyway. And I learned how. Well, anyway, I got aboard of this submarine. It was a submarine D1. The numbers were I-169. Now remember that. No air conditioning, and you're in a tomb. You're in an iron tomb down there hot. It was so hot at times. You couldn't sleep, you'd chew your pillow. Just go to sleep. And anybody would volunteer just to get up topside, I mean, lift some air, we'd do it. Well, that didn't last long. But always, as I tell you this, the submarine fleet was always practicing out to sea. We were ready. Even in peacetime, we had subs circulating the islands all around. French Samoa, American Samoa, and we had it. And my last trip, this before the war started, we went out on the Dolphin, the submarine D1. We were out 30 days, and we seen the Japanese fleet. We seen them at night. They were darkened ship. We knew them. We passed the word. We rated it and told everybody where they were, but they didn't believe us. So we come back into, well, we had to come back in because we were out. The reason we come in, we couldn't make no fresh water. Our fresh water tanks had worms in them. So the only way to drink water was to get a rain shower. But it rained, we get up there and get buckets and get the rain. And another thing on submarines, they're always clean. We have to make our own water, so what we do, we get a rainstorm or a rain cloud coming in, everybody topside, open the hatches, you go anyway. And anyway, so that's it, and so we were coming into port after this run, just before the war, and I seen this fleet, our American fleet, the surface fleet, come in. 20 miles out to sea, they were lined up to come into Pearl Harbor. They were lined up to come in before December the 7th. Right there, and they were coming, the whole works. And we come in, and we're supposed to, the Navy is spit and polish and protocol. In Annapolis, you got a number. You got to go to that factory. They get your number. High seniority, you get priority to get in. And this captain I had, that old left rudder radio, he says, they're signaling to us, get in line. I signaled back to him, I said, we're proceeding into port, emergency immediately. And I said, went back, and the captain said, I was a signalman, a visual signalman, I did the signal. Anyway, he says, what they talking about? They says, go into port. What they're telling us is stop immediately. But I didn't tell the captain. And we went in, we cruised in, all of them, all the lights were flashing all over the place. Flag hoists going up in the air, 5 flag, breakdown flags, emergency flags, stop. Big 24-inch searchlights shining on us coming in. We could steam right in. The captain's waving at them. He don't know what's happening. So we get into port. Now I'm ready to go ashore. Now once I heard that is Wagner, report up to the administration building immediately. But the lesser of two evils, I had my lights on. I was ready to go ashore. Should I or should I? And I was walking to this guy. He says, "You better go." I went up there. Boy, they rid me off. And then they shook my hands. You got away with it. And that was a bad thing. Well, anyway, prior to proceeding in the port, we seen the administration building, and on top of this administration building, we seen guns. We get closer. I looked up my binoculars and looked there. Guess what? There were wooden guns. And this is just the month before Pearl. Wooden guns. They weren't ready for attack. And that we got in, I went ashore that night, and that Pearl Harbor, Honolulu was just loaded. You couldn't even get a place to have a cold one. I went back to the sub, and we were pretty lucky at this time. We had a barracks we could come to sleep in. They had lockers for us, and instead of sleeping on there, if you had the duty, you stayed aboard. Anyway, come back, and we're mumbling anyway. So I think we come back before 10 o'clock. The beer joint closes at 10, but they had a Japanese running it. You threaten him, you keep it open all night. Just tell him you're going to pound him. And you had to pay, was I think a nickel a glass or a nickel a bottle for beer. You didn't have any, hey, put it on the cup. You ain't got no cup. He speaks in Japanese and had broken. Anyway, things there, and I got orders to leave Pearl. And I was in the air when they attacked. I wasn't there at the attack, Pearl Harbor, but I was in the air. But I'll tell you, a submarine crew is trained under any circumstances. We were told when we're in port, anything happens, just proceed immediately to your duty station, to your sub. If you're under attack, the guns are blazing, anything going on, stay where you are and wait. But don't show your face, because anything moving is a target. You're dead. They say your gun is quick, their bullets are faster though. Anyway, I flew back to the States, and I got to the States, and I picked up a sub. As soon as we got back, and we had to go call up the Battle of Midway. I remember that distinctly. Midway, first engagement. Let me tell you something, we fired torpedoes. And as usual, they run straight, hot, straight and normal, but they wouldn't explode. No way. We hit this one battleship. We hit him in the rear end, the propellers were just going around in circles. And guarding this battleship was about about 20 destroyers, and boy did we get it. They just let us have it, one death bomb after another. We got Christian in our Christian. And let me tell you something. You see these movies. These submarine sailors are looking up for that depth charge to come down. They never do that. They just proceed because they know it's going to go underneath or the side. And you don't hear no click either. You don't know when it's going to come. But it's coming. Well, our first ship we did sink out in the South China Sea. I remember this distinctly. It was a moonlight night. Pretty. And the ship was all alone. And we're up there, we're going in. And I just looked at him, I said to myself, isn't that a shame? Here today and gone. Blew that suck, one torpedo hit. One of them exploded for a change. That one did. We were lucky. Sunk that. And which we sunk a couple more of that one. Well, anyway, make the matter short. In my career, World War II, 26 Japanese ships sunk. 100,000 tons of damage, that's another 5 ships. But you can't claim damage until you actually sink, go down. Remember that. Now, that's a lot of ships. Well, I got through some gallantry in action, I got the Silver Star and a presidential citation from Roosevelt. I got that right here in my record anyway. Mm-hmm. I'll get the medals on that. And after the war was over with, we were at sea. And we didn't know it was over till the next day. Everybody's almost over the radio. This radioman come and took her. Say, hey, there ain't no war. It's over with. Oh, you know what? Here, I'll sum it all up. We lost 52 submarines. And they were good men. They were solid men. They were in tombs, iron coffins. They're down with Davy Jones now, or up in heaven or something. Maybe they're associated with the mermaids. I don't know. Could be. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Oh, what a time I have at Minnie the Mermaid down the bottom of the sea. That's where I lost my morals, down amongst the corals. See what a sailor always looks for? They were good men. They call it the SS Silent Service, not Secret Service, Silent Service. And we were taught, whatever we do, keep it quiet. Don't spread the word around. Just do nothing. All right. World War II's over with. What I did, I went to Adelaide night. I ended up teaching submarine school, an instructor, lead teaching instructor. Then I had 18 years at sea. Well, I wanted 20, 18 and a half, I wanted 20. But somebody ahead had a pull. He wanted the 20, or somebody did. So what they did, they sent me orders to come to Lincoln, Nebraska. And I was up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, sub base up there. I got these orders. I said, hey, where the hell's Lincoln, Nebraska? Is that a state? Nebraska. And then everybody, there ain't no water there. What are you going to do? Well, I says, I can't go to the Navy station, so I questioned the orders. There ain't no Navy station. You're going. It's a reserve station. Recruiting. I said, oh. And I came down. That's how I come to Lincoln. I came to Lincoln here. Everybody was so nice. Had a Navy station. Had a good place, good bunk, good billet. And I met my wife, Dorothy. How in heaven can a man look a good-looking girl like that and